Hey all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and I'm joined by Kyle
Hey, yo.
and Squeaks,
Squeaks.
and we got Kevin.
Kevin.
We have a lot to cover today. Mostly going to be doing a lot of reviews, a lot of great shows and video games coming out right now. But let's start with playing and watching. It's been a bit since we've done this. Squeaks, what have you been playing? What have you been watching?
All right, playing. Let's see. Lost Ark, of course, and I think that's what's everybody kind of really playing right now. As well as Sifu. Yeah, Sifu on the PS5.
Oh, good.
And then watching wise, obviously you know this. I just binge watched the Cuphead series, which I already restarted again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So you're on your second watch through of a show that came out yesterday.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
How long is that show from beginning to end?
It's 12 episodes for about 20 minutes each.
Okay.
200 something hours.
It's a healthy chunk. Yeah, it's pretty good.
40.
Kyle, what have you been playing? What have you been watching?
Same. Lost Ark, incredible game. We'll dive into it later. But along with that, I've been watching Cuphead as well. I'm halfway through it at the moment.
Nice. Myself, I mean, I played a little bit of Lost Ark, but right now mostly it's Horizon Forbidden West, and God, watching so much good TV. Like TV is so good right now. It's hard to actually play video games when it's like I got to make sure to watch the latest Peacemaker, which we're going to talk about, and Righteous Gemstones is the best fucking show ever right now, and so it's really hard. But yeah, so much good stuff to watch right now. What do you got over there, Kevin?
I started playing Horizon Forbidden West, and I can't wait to dive more into that. Definitely a lot of Lost Ark. Finished Ozark on Netflix.
Oh, me too.
Or at
So
least
good.
the current
Indeed.
episodes that are up
Right.
there. We're still waiting for part 2, season 4. I think that's been about it. Besides rewatching that Doctor Strange trailer over and over.
Yeah. With the last 15 minutes of the latest episode of Ozark, oh my God. I couldn't believe it. It's so
Yeah.
ruthless.
Speaking of Ruth, you said ruthless. The girl that plays Ruth Langmore, she is so fucking good.
Very
No,
talented.
she's got a new
so
movie I
good.
gotta see. Yeah, she's so good. Yeah, and like in rage mode, you're just like, how are you doing this? How are you on set with her right now? It's so crazy.
Like, I got goosebumps when I was watching that.
So as for the Geek Freaks Network, what we got going on is on Wednesday, we're going to have a brand new episode of Pushing Buttons with a really cool guest. That's me. And then on Friday, we don't have a Trek Freaks this Friday, correct?
Depending on scheduling with John and Squeaks.
Okay. If not, we'll be releasing one of our remasters interviews coming up. So we have a couple of those that are in the hopper ready to go for whenever Trek Freaks wants to take a breather or Pushing Buttons. So we have one of those remasters coming out on Friday. And then Sloop is the first week of Sloop coming back. We're going to be doing a run of movies. It'll be Coen Brothers movies. So for the next month, and I think it's going to be Fargo for the first one. We're going to kick it off with the big bad. So that'll be really cool. Let's get into the news. We have Doctor Strange trailer. We've all been rewatching it a few times. First impressions, Kevin, you were just talking about it. Why don't you give us your first impressions on this Doctor Strange trailer?
I was watching that. I waited till my wife was done with work and we just sat down and watched
nice.
the trailer. We do that with Marvel trailers now. That's just what we do.
You guys should record it so I can make content out of that, by the way.
Monetization everywhere. Yeah. I have not been this excited for a Marvel movie, and I've been excited for almost every Marvel movie since Infinity War. That's when I started. That's when I jumped on the bandwagon. But like, I thought that Spider-Man No Way Home was going to be the ultimate Marvel movie for me, and I'm more excited for this Doctor Strange movie than I was for Spider-Man. So, yeah.
What about it is making you so excited?
All the possibilities that the multiverse includes. I'm not gonna go too far into that because I don't know much of the Marvel lore behind like the Illuminati and stuff like that. But hearing Patrick Stewart's voice, even as a Star Trek fan, but as somebody who loves X-Men, I'm so excited for what this is gonna lead to.
That blew my mind. I was like, it was middle of the Super Bowl, and like people are like trying to watch the game, and I'm over there like trying to tweet as fast as hard as I can. Just like so excited. Oh man, Squeaks, what was your favorite thing from this Doctor Strange trailer?
Let's see. My favorite thing was probably to see him kind of like that zombie mode-ish. It kind of looks like we are just getting an extension to the What If series. But then it still gets me to wonder, and you guys could probably debunk this. My not really a theory, but a possibility right now is the fact that is this pre No Way Home or not? Because No Way Home, he was like, yeah, sure, I could cast this and whatever. without the like the dangerousness to this. But then I feel like he's learning it now in a way, like he's going somewhere to learn this.
My perception of this is that it's post No Way Home. The actions he did in No Way Home has caused the multiverse to be all screwed up, and that's what he's fixing right now.
Okay, so it's kind of like that. Okay, I was thinking this was like the spell, but other than that, I think this is going to be a fucking mess.
Yeah,
I'm
I am worried about that.
I'm gonna fight the other side. What is a single or what do you call it, like a Captain America movie now or a Doctor Strange movie? It's not. It's all just scrambled up superheroes in each one. It's basically Avenger. Every movie is an Avengers movie essentially. I wouldn't even be shocked if Blade had like 5 different characters in it at this point. That should be a standalone movie.
It's interesting you said that because Kevin Feige this week just said that the last Avengers movie, Endgame, is the last Avengers movie.
Yeah, but it all feels like an Avengers movie if you're going to throw like 10 different characters in it, you know? I know Kevin Feige sat down with everyone and had like these rules and laws of the multiverse, but honestly, I don't see any rules or laws.
Well, yeah, I think you're right, especially right after No Way Home. It does feel like this might be too much, and I'd be down for just a cool. But I think what the whole point is that Spider-Man was a surprise because we knew that this one was going to be multiverse of madness.
Yeah.
We knew that this one was going to be a mess in that way. Because of Spider-Man throwing that same trick, it's going to be hard back to back on that. But I don't know. There is a part of me that's just like, yeah, but that's Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, okay, get the X-Men in here and see if you can recast, the whole X-Men crew. But I mean, I'm excited to see it, but then is every movie just going to feel this way? Where it's just a bunch of different characters thrown. It's basically a Captain America Civil War. Is it really Captain America's movie? You know?
Right, exactly. Yeah, we all called it, like a mini Avengers. And then if you look at like Captain Marvel filming, that's going to have a lot of extra people that are not supposed to be normally in a Captain Marvel story. The Guardians of the Galaxy, likely going to have some Thor stuff in there because of Thor. Thor has a lot of extra characters. So you're right. I think we might be leaving some of these like smaller, more compact stories. Like the Black Widow was a really good one. That was pretty compact. But that might have been our last one really that we had.
For me personally, I think for these characters, this is their first foray into the multiverse, and that's what I'm most excited to see.
Mm-hmm.
With Spider-Man No Way Home, that was more about the multiverse coming to them. But I think with Doctor Strange, it's more about him and Wanda venturing into the multiverse. So it's really fascinating to anticipate that and seeing all these different versions of our favorite characters, possibly with different actors too, which I'm most excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's go ahead and go over a couple things here. We know Captain Carter will be in it because of her shield being in the poster. Essentially, those of you guys who skipped What If because you're like, I don't want to watch a cartoon. It is now more important than ever. It's actually probably the most important of all the Disney Plus series moving forward, except for maybe WandaVision. We also know that, yes, we have the Illuminati with Professor X, Patrick Stewart being confirmed. 2 other predictions is Black Panther, but Michael B. Jordan version. And because remember, it doesn't have to be our Michael B. Jordan or our Black Panther. It's the multiverse. And a Mr. Fantastic. If it's Mr. Fantastic, will they use the old Fox Mr. Fantastic and fold that as well into the multiverse? Or will they use maybe John Krasinski, the fanfic one? Any ideas on that, anybody?
I have no idea how they're going to end up bringing in the Fantastic Four. And I've never seen any of the Fantastic Four anything, so I'm just going to soak it in as it comes in. I've heard rumors, though, that speculation, I suppose, that there's going to be an alternate version of Iron Man potentially played by Tom Cruise.
Yes.
That would be fantastic if that happens.
Yeah.
I think just because it'd be unexpected by me. And I love being surprised by stupid shit.
Yeah. I saw this this interview or this talk about with Tom Cruise. I don't know, because to me, he's kind of an asshole. But he didn't want his face covered. And essentially, the new Supreme Iron Man in the comic books doesn't have his face covered. So now it's kind of like that theory, like, oh, hold on, are we going to get Tom Cruise to become Iron Man? So,
and Supreme Iron Man is a lot like one of my favorite movies is Tropic Thunder, and Tom Cruise's character in that is like Supreme Iron Man. That guy that's like the boss of everybody that's in the room will make sure you're aware of that situation, and is just like stupidly dancing. It's like the worst version of Tony Stark. And that's exactly what it is. But he's also the successful version of him. So it's this really weird combo. And I mean, yeah, I've heard this too, and I would be very happy with that. I mean, as silly as it would be to see a Tom Cruise be a total jerk. And I think that I also think that we're gonna get Scarlet Witch just straight up being the bad guy in this movie, and probably kill all the Illuminati. So everybody you're seeing there, I think, is gonna go away real quick, including, Tom Cruise's Iron Man. I don't think that's gonna be the new norm.
That'd be okay. I'd be definitely okay with that. I'm just wondering what kind of surprises they are going to have because they gave away Charles Xavier in a trailer. So there's going to be something huge in the movie.
They gave a lot away, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not massive, but going back to that Fantastic Four question, I think kind of like Spider-Man, we were all excited to see these old characters come back to play the role. So would John be amazing probably playing it? Most likely, but I think it'd be like, oh, that's so cool to see that old casting of Fantastic or Mr. Richards or Richards, yeah.
Yeah, Reed Richards. I'd rather have John Krasinski play our actual Reed Richards and then use the Fox one as kind of like a nod to the Illuminati and stuff like that. You can even use bad CGI. I'm okay with that. That's what that movie is all about. and I'd be cool with that. But yeah, I like John Krasinski as that role, so I want him to actually play and not just be killed off. A couple of things here. We have a mysterious hero. Again, everybody was thinking it might be Superior Iron Man, but I feel like it's either Monica or Maria Rambeau version of Captain Marvel. So basically, we'll have another version of Captain Marvel, and then if we do, she's probably on the Illuminati as well. Zombies. They're full embracing this zombie storyline. Squeaks, did you ever think we were going to get a zombie storyline in live action?
No, not even in way back in the cartoon days. Or not cartoon, sorry, the comic book days. I don't even think we would see like a revamp of it, like in What If. I just thought it would be too dark to try to bring it up to these streaming services and whatnot. So I would not think that it would be available for, I don't know, just I guess a younger audience that notice it or see it.
Yeah. It's weird because I mean, like if you think back when like Iron Man 1 came out, and you're like, man, I can't believe how cool this is, and one of the big pitches was, but it's also realistic because it's like science and stuff. Kind of makes sense. If you were to fast forward 10 plus years and be like, there will be a point where we have zombies and there's possibly a cult cartoon universe that's out there. Everybody's showing clips of a cartoon universe as well. All these different things. It feels like, holy cow, this is going to be a mess. And yet I'm still on board with it. It's kind of this weird mix where it's like, I know this isn't going to be clean, but that might be the madness part of the storyline. Like it's supposed to be messy like that. And I think it's Sam Raimi doing this. I mean, you can't be too worried. That'd be pretty good. Any last thoughts before we move on to the next thing? Anybody?
Any predictions on what characters we'll be seeing in this movie?
Yeah, so we haven't seen yet.
In the multiverse?
I mean, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine?
Yeah.
I mean, you brought up John Krasinski. I think we'll see him as Captain America, actually.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
Because he did audition for the role, but he lost to Chris Evans. So that would be really cool to see.
Yeah. How did he lose to Chris Evans? That's crazy.
Because they wanted to go with an unknown.
Oh, it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, he was just known for like not another teen movie, which is actually pretty good. Yeah, I mean, there are so many things you can throw in there. At first when I saw that like mysterious, possibly Captain Marvel, I thought maybe that was Phoenix, and then I was like, oh my god, if they bring in the Phoenix storyline now, that would be so cool. But no, they're talk about a mess. That would be crazy to add in X-Men's most iconic story and to just like, yeah, we'll just toss it into Avengers, whatever 4.5 or whatever this is.
Especially after the flop that was the X-Men Dark Phoenix movie or Phoenix, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
I still haven't even seen that one.
I think the one character that people are kind of saying they've seen or whatever is we'll see Deadpool in here. I think Deadpool's going to make a pop up because, I mean, he's almost perfect for the movie. Somebody who's thinking in a metaverse way, like, looking back at the Marvel Universe. If you have something where people are hopping around the Marvel Universe, that's the perfect time to throw him in there. When he's going to look back at all this and be like, boy, this is going to be hard to film or something funny like that would be really good timing.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds says he's for sure not in it, but it doesn't exclude the fact that Deadpool's not in it for the fact that if you're doing like this multiverse madness and say you're getting a scene where it's just clip, it's just real snippets of all these different heroes, I could see Deadpool popping up for a quick second, saying some smart ass thing, and then goes to the next dimension or whatever. That's just a CGI thing, right? Really, so...
Do you think we'll see the X-Men at all?
Like the X-Men proper?
Yes.
I doubt it.
Really? I think we'll get a tease of it.
We'll get it. I think Xavier is the tease of it, but...
I was hoping to kind of like get a glimmer of the actual X-Men in this movie, but we'll see what happens.
How much older would be that X-23 girl from the Wolverine movie? Like, how many years has it been now?
She's probably in her later teens. Yeah, she probably
I'm kind of curious if maybe she could like do a little pop up on there.
And comic book wise, they're really embracing her right now. I mean, a lot. Mm-hmm. So they're definitely prepping her to be a big star. I don't know. Yeah, and then I think too, also just to reiterate on the concept art for this thing, Professor X is in the animated series chair, so this might be that version of Professor X that we're seeing. So it's just to add more chaos to this. It might be the best version of Professor X, really. So yeah. All right, let's go and move on to our next thing here. We have a new Star Trek movie announced. This is the Kelvin timeline, aka the J.J. Abrams films. They're fun, but a lot of Star Trek fans have a lot of hate for these films. Kevin, I'm leaning on you on this. What do you think are the pros and cons to this? Like, why should people be excited for this, and why are people worried about a new JJ movie?
Star Trek diehards are some of the hardest people to please, and yes. I'm one of them. So it's very easy to see why people can just go, another JJ movie, another Kelvin timeline. Like the movie, the whole reason that they had to put it in a different timeline is because of the lash out that they were going to get from people like me. But if you go into the movie watching or like knowing that it's just going to be a fun movie, just happens to take place in like a Star Trek, I'm going to call it a Star Trek multiverse at this point.
Oh God, might as well. Q is Doctor Strange. Go ahead.
Oh, good God. I don't know. Star Trek Beyond, was that the most recent one? Or
God, no, was it Nemesis? It could be.
No, the most recent Kelvin timeline one.
Oh yeah, Beyond, yeah.
That one I actually enjoyed, even though it's on paper it's a very bad Star Trek movie, but it's a very fun action movie.
It really
it's just
is,
it's a popcorn flick, and that's what I expect out of these movies anymore. And I'm more likely to care about a J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie than a Star Wars movie from J.J. Abrams going forward. So that's my thoughts on it.
I agree. Boy, when they blast that Beastie Boys and just like surf on robots, I was like, this is not a Star Trek, but I'm loving it.
I looked at my wife at that scene because we were watching that together as well. And I'm like, this sucks. And I was dying laughing. I'm like, I love it. I love how bad this is.
Yeah.
It's great.
And then that first JJ movie when like, it was very predictable, but it was like, I think it was like Spock versus the Romulans. And then all of a sudden, here comes the Enterprise just firing all guns. And it was like, God, they get you. They've added Star Wars to Star Trek is basically what they're doing right here. Because that was totally Han Solo flying in to save Luke. And it was like, oh, that's so cool. Now, Squeaks, you came in from this franchise, right? This is what got you into Star Trek.
Yeah, so this is what essentially pulled me in. It could have been some of that action stuff, really. Because now that I'm watching like Next Generation, it's obviously a big, 180. But it's like we need more of it for the fact to open up Star Trek to everyone, because especially people like me. If that's what pulled me in, that's what pulled me in. And I think we need Star Trek in all aspects. So we already got it in the streaming services. We have comics and books and whatever. So let's continue to have that high budget in the movie theaters. Now, I still really, obviously I love those movies because that's what put me in, right? And the action is fun. But then that's what opened the door. I was like, okay, let me try Next Generation because I know it's extremely popular. Well, I watched Discovery as well. And when you kind of flip it, I really enjoy the Next Generation more than I like Discovery, really now. And it is because it is because obviously that opening the door is what helped me get there from something else. But those one-off episodes of because I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan, and I talk to you, Frank, about this all the time, that each episode is different, right? And then some of my favorite episodes from Next Generation was just the fact that they went to the hologram level and they were trying to solve a mystery and shit like that. And it's like, had nothing to do with anything really Star Trek, but just being like Sherlock Holmes for the day. But I was like, oh, I love this episode.
Yeah.
But I think we for sure need to continue to expand the Star Trek, no matter what format it's on. And I'm super excited that they're coming back to the movie theaters with JJ. Now, like what Kevin said, thank God it's a Star Trek and not a Star Wars, because I hope he doesn't touch a Star Wars movie ever again. So
yeah. I think he would have been okay if he got all 3 Star Wars movies. The fact that he lost the middle one really killed it. John Boyega said it best when he's like, you guys are lucky motherfuckers that he came back and saved it, basically, is what he was saying. And it's like, yeah, he did. I mean, he kind of like, what did you kill Captain Phasma for? That whole thing. Which, by the way, I got to read those books because I hear she has a really good storyline in the book. So I'm going to read it eventually. Add it to the pile. Also, like Voyager and stuff like that, they all have these really cool one-off episodes that have nothing to do with them trying to get home. The holodeck is always fun story place. We could actually probably do a top 5 holodeck stories. I'm thinking that right now. There's the whole Spider Queen one that Kate Mulgrew, the actress that plays Catherine Janeway, embraces all the time on Twitter and will be like, your Spider Queen suggests you do this. And it's like, that's just so cool that she's cool with that.
Just from a random few episodes that were the Bride of Chaotica or something like
the
that.
Bride of
Captain
Chaotica.
Proton. Yeah.
Well, and like the logo for their podcast is the Captain Proton ship. Like they've totally embraced it. Everybody over there has.
That's funny.
So yeah, I love that. And I think that's what we're really excited for when we're talking about Strange New Worlds, because they promised that, hey, we're bringing back that next generation feel, where it's just these one-off episodes the entire time. And it's Anson Mount playing Captain Pike, this kind of cowboy in space. That's exactly what I wanted. So I'm excited for that too. But I'm also excited for this because it's just going to be cool fireworks. Just before we head out of this, Kyle, what Star Trek are you a fan of?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised I'm being asked this question. I haven't seen much of anything.
I actually have a question for you, though, Kyle, relating to Star Trek.
Okay,
what would
sure.
it take? And I'm hoping the answer is Strange New Worlds with Anson Mount. But what would it take for you to actually start watching Star Trek?
Yeah, it's not that.
Okay, that's fair.
It's Lower Decks.
I mean, it's been like a conflict. I feel like if I would get invested in it, I would really enjoy it, like all of you. But the issue is time and keeping up with all these other types of content. And honestly, I put it so far out, like I'm actually considering watching it when I retire.
Oh, shit. All right, never mind.
Because it's so much of it, and I won't have the free time, and it's like, well, maybe I'll just save it for retirement. Who knows?
One of these days, just start all the way back with the original series, and you can.
Right.
There's this podcast that I've heard of, Trek Freaks.
There it is.
That's the one.
Yeah, I remember now.
They go along with every episode. Yeah, and just go along with them. Those guys are nice.
Also, to be fair, I have seen the Star Trek movies, and I didn't really think much of them. They were fun, like Kevin said, popcorn flicks, but it didn't want me to explore more of Star Trek. It kind of put me off of it, actually.
No, hold on. What do you do for a living, though, Kyle?
Oh, I'm a salesman, actually.
Are you ever sitting at the desk?
Yeah.
Okay. I consistently watch Star Trek at work. Okay, and that's how I do it. Okay.
I wish I could get away with that, dude.
Because I just sit there with like one earpiece in. But it's also a bad thing too, because that's how I started with Discovery and Next Generation. Well, Next Generation got me to be like, fuck, I need to pay attention to this a little bit more. So now I don't watch Next Generation at work. So
Discovery, you can totally half brain that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Lower Decks, if you've seen any other Star Trek, Lower Decks is great to just have on the side just to listen to it.
Exactly. I usually watch that when I'm watching my daughter, and we're just sitting in the living room. So it's kind of like, 80% paying attention, 75. Yeah.
This episode of Trek Freaks.
Maybe in the future, I could be a guest on Trek Freaks, and I could honestly watch any episode, and Kevin and John can just kind of grill me. Like
that will be fantastic. I
think the best thing, starting with if we start with
maybe
either
TNG.
The motion picture or The Wrath of Khan when we get to the movies,
that might be a good starting point.
Absolutely. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, if you're gonna put your best foot forward, it's gonna be Wrath of Khan then. That first motion picture is rough.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
All right. Let's go ahead and get going forward. Some more. Couple quick things here. BioShock movie is coming to Netflix. It's being made with Take-Two and 2K Games. So actually by the creators of the OG games here. We've talked about this before in the past, how much we wanted this. It's finally here. Any casting ideas or anything you want from this movie? Myself, I hope it is still in Rapture. I hope we stick with the Rapture one first off. We've been getting a lot of cool things. A lot of people were suggesting Matt Damon for the main character.
Casting, I'm not too sure on, but as far as production goes, I think what really sells the idea of BioShock is the environments. That's the most important piece of the game, as well as this adaptation. As long as Ken Levine isn't involved, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't take place in Colombia, especially, I'd be very happy. It needs to be in Rapture, 100%.
Yeah. Do you think they should eventually get to Columbia, though? Because I do love that game.
Oh, no. Like, with how overtly
yeah, that's true. Actually,
racist it can be.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
actually,
I don't think that's a good idea.
I think it could be, though. I was actually, once again, talking to my wife about this. If it doesn't show here on the podcast, my wife's a nerd like I am, and I love everything about her. We were talking about the BioShock movie, and we were both kind of agreeing that it'd be awesome if it took place completely somewhere different that the games haven't touched, but still kept the same themes, essentially the same theme as the first BioShock.
Yeah.
And just kind of took what story it was trying to tell, but set it in another different place. Just hopefully they don't do another multiverse thing, because that can get wacky once again. Everything's a multiverse now.
BioShock Infinite set up the multiverse too. We actually saw the whole scene with that. So my mind was blown playing the end of that game. Like, it was just like, but wait, you were? I mean, it was like, I was just totally fucking invested.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, have you played the DLC for BioShock Infinite? The Silent at Sea, I think it's called?
Oh, I don't think I did.
I would highly recommend that, because it continues that even further.
Oh, perfect. That's exactly how you sell that to me then. I love that. There was like the parts where you'd go to like some like war-torn France for a second and stuff. It was really cool. We also have Marvel shows are leaving Netflix. So if you're a Daredevil fan and you haven't finished binging those, Defenders, even Iron Fist for some reason, they're all leaving Netflix. They will eventually be on Disney Plus, but not quite yet. And we already know that, they've already embraced Daredevil. He's going to be back in the MCU. We know Jessica Jones is going to be on the next She-Hulk series. So they're all kind of getting integrated into Disney Plus as it is. All right, let's go and start reviewing some of the cool stuff we've seen lately. We're going to start with Peacemaker. And Squeaks, I mean, I know you just finished watching Peacemaker. What are your thoughts on the series?
I thought it was a little slow here and there, but I get that James Gunn is trying to tell a story about one individual character instead of just an hour and a half, 2.5 hour movie, what we got from Suicide Squad. So I got that. But it was still entertaining at the same time. It was just overall, I kind of wish we saw more episodes of the badass Peacemaker like we did in Suicide Squad. Like the whole killing with ease. I wish we saw a little bit more episodes of that. But now story-wise is fine with Amanda Waller's daughter and the butterflies, and then the leader of the little group they had was actually a butterfly himself. Spoiler, oh well, you should have seen it. But overall, it's overall, I tell everyone this is a must-watch series. Yeah, it's super fun. It's funny. Yeah, most definitely.
James Gunn said his inspiration for this series was Better Call Saul, because they took their time to really tell a story. Mm-hmm. I think those first 3 episodes, you definitely feel that. There are times where he's starting to deal with like his brother's death and stuff like that. I am so surprised that this like Z-level character had me this invested. Like Peacemaker, what a crap character. Yeah. Like, he's such a bad character. But now I'm like, dude, I'm rooting for you. And also, same thing goes for John Cena. Like, he's just a wrestler, like a meathead kind of guy, not to be mean. It was my first thoughts on him. But man, he actually really tried his hardest in this thing. You really saw him really work up some emotion, right?
I'm actually a huge John Cena fan when it comes to movies. It's because his physique fits the what's it called? Like there was a vacation movie where I wish I could look it up. But anyway, he plays that dumb type of character extremely well, and he cracks me up all the time. So it is nice to see a little flip-flop when it comes to actually like emotional scenes and stuff. I think John Cena is going to be, I don't want to say rock level, but I think we will definitely see him in definitely more movies.
Yeah, the particularly, I won't give details of what exactly is happening, but that final scene with him and his dad, I was just like, oh my God, he is reaching for the Emmy as hard as he can right now. It blew me away. That was really good. All around, a fantastic story, I thought. Like, it was, you're right, the beginning 3 especially were a little slow, but once get going, I was invested in relationships and actually what's going on with the world. And then, God, it's hard to avoid spoilers here, but that ending, I was like, where the hell were these people anyways the entire time? I think we just I've already seen people posting on TikTok, so we're going to say it right now. I'm giving you guys a 3-second timer on spoilers. 1, 2, 3. When JLA showed up, I mean, it was like, where the hell have you guys been? It was just so nuts.
I just started cracking up because it's just like, are you fucking serious? Like, we literally just threw him in there right now.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was like, okay, you got the silhouettes and you're like, they're not talking right now.
Right.
But when Aquaman and Barry started talking and joking, I was like, oh my gosh, they're really here just for this real quick scene, right? But just Peacemaker just casually walking by these big guys saying, oh, fuck you guys, and just leaving.
That's great.
Cracks me up.
I loved it.
Oh, right, man.
Headphones back on. Yeah, that was awesome.
That was really cool.
So I'm going to give this thing like a solid A-. And I think a lot of that is because of just the shock of how good it is, because I really didn't think it was going to be that good. Where are you sitting on this?
Yeah, no, you know what? The fact. Okay, so I'll give it an A-2, and the reason why it's going up from a B is the fact that this story ended with season 1. So, and we already know there's a season 2 coming out, right? So I'm super excited that they're like not prolonging the same thing over and over, right? Like a lot of TV series do, right? So I think that's what's going to make me jump to the A- for sure. Is that I'm excited, just the excitement to see what's going to happen with season 2. I mean, I know you got the guy in the little green outfit. I forget his name.
Right.
He's still around.
Yeah,
Other than
Judo
that,
Master.
Other than that, it's like it feels like a new chapter. Would
God,
be
when
start
he's
of a new
crying at the
chapter.
end too, you like realize why. It's like he was trying to save humanity in his own way, right?
See,
Like,
okay, so I didn't get why he was crying. So you're
because
gonna
he
have
was
to.
working with them to save. He was working with them to save humanity. Like, you know, Peacemaker made that decision at the end. That was like humanity or friends. Don't worry, no spoilers, no spoilers.
Yeah.
Humanity or friends, and he went with, you know what I'm saying, the choice that he made. Judo Master had that same decision and went the other way with it. You think about it.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So, oh man. Anyways, really good, worth a watch. A- from us. I think that's fair.
Most definitely.
All right, let's move on to the next one. We got Horizon. We got a lot to review. Horizon Forbidden West. This is kind of a first impressions. I'm 6 hours in. You said you're 3 hours in, right, Kevin?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, and none of you guys have picked it up yet, Squeaks or Kyle, right?
Nope.
You will after we're done talking about it, that's for sure. This game is stunning. I mean, it's just gorgeous. I can't believe how good it is. What are your first thoughts there, Kevin?
I'm playing on the PS4 because, as Kyle and I have both said numerous times throughout different episodes of this, we can't get our hands on PS5s around here.
Yeah.
It still looks amazing on the PS4.
Yeah, it does.
Crazy how good it looks. And it feels, it's just everything about it's just so good so far. I'm only 3 hours in, so I don't really have very many examples, but the combat is, I kept it at a decent difficulty, not too hard, but I didn't lower anything. The combat is as difficult as I remember, and it's as punishing as I remember.
Yes.
But from the first one, but it's so satisfying. Every arrow, every thwack with the spear, everything just feels so intentional, so just crisp.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, yeah. And speaking of the difficulty, now, you could actually fine-tune the difficulty more than I've ever seen in any other game. So much so that you'd be like, well, I want it on easy, but I want to make sure that my auto aim is off or increased. Or I want, like, where I can aim and then use my controller to kind of motion it in a little bit more. Every little thing. I want to be able to instantly sprint as soon as I start moving, or all kinds of different little things you could add in. I really like that extra level of, it's almost like accessibility as well as difficulty.
It is exactly that, yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah, God, it's gorgeous. So I'm playing it on the PS5, and not to kind of rub salt in the wounds, but I was like, man, what I need is another PS5, one for the living room, one for over here would be really good. So I'm going to start looking for another PS5. Because I need to get one for the living room and one for next to with a capture card. I am hot off of Zero Dawn, the first game. And I played that one on the PS5, but it was like the PS4 version upscaled. And I thought that'll be similar to that, right? Oh my God, no. I mean, the motion capture is so well done. Foliage, the bright world that you're in. I'm in this one zone where like there's like mountain, you're like at a cliff, mountains on each side. It's amazing just looking at the mountains. What are you into, like full open world yet, or are you still kind of doing that intro area?
Yeah, so I got into the full open world part of it, the very, very first zone, and my mission took me one way. I went the exact opposite direction, naturally, as one does in an open world game if you're me. And I explored this mine. Like the water looked really cool through that mine, and my wife was once again sitting there watching me.
Yeah.
And I was in this place with just some trees. The wind was blowing. You see the leaves, even on the PS4, dude. You see the leaves blowing, there's butterflies flapping, the light hitting the trees and making shadows. Just, it's so, the attention to detail in that is so impressive.
And as quick and as fast moving as you are in the game, like you would think that would slow everything down. Like, oh man, this must have taken a lot of power. You're still moving just as fast as you want to in this game. It's very fluid. That specific mine, did you talk to anybody before you had it out there? Because there's a quest in there.
I talked to the guy right outside the mine that gave me a quest inside of it.
Okay, so you have this quest in town to go talk to that guy to go into the mine, basically. So yeah,
I did. Okay, I sequence broke for sure. I always do that in open world games. I go, well, games take me one way. I'm going the exact opposite way. Even in side-scrolling games, 2D games, you go right. No, you got to check left first.
Yeah,
I always do that. I'm just broken like that.
I think it's the WoW player in me where I collect all the quests in town, and I say, okay, if I go this way, I could do like 3 of them in a row. So I did that, and it led to the mine. And then I go back, turn all those in. Okay, do I have any more this way? No, I go that way now. But there is a level of exploring where I'm like, oh, there's a question mark over here. Let me go see what that is. And then it opened up this whole thing. I don't have the gliding yet, which is the thing I'm probably most excited for, is that gliding ability. I will say, as a downside, when this game was pitched, if the idea was that you could climb anywhere, that is definitely not the case. It is not Assassin's Creed climbing, which was what sold it to me at first. It is still very much in the Zero Dawn era of where, like, okay, see how that's painted? But now you have this thing where you can like scan and see where you can climb, but it's the same idea. You have to climb their paths. That's frustrating in a lot of ways, but I mean, the game is still very, very good so far. Let me see. Oh, I like the fact that they continued from the first game and that you are the savior and your reputation precedes you. Because that's fair. I mean, like, you're Aloy, you've done this and that, and you should have that rep. And a lot of games forget to do that. You'll still be like a new guy in a new land. But in this one, no, I am actually important. And that's opening doors for me to open new questing. I do like that a lot. And I'm actually enjoying the side quests. There's a level of wanting to do the side quests for the sake of that town or the area that I'm in.
I also really love the attention to detail that they put in being able to take in Zero Dawn. You can take over, or I forget what they call it, like control other beasts. The ones that you had the ability to do that with in Zero Dawn, if you find them in the world in this one, you can still control them because you still have that ability.
Yeah.
They added new ones that you can't do that to until you get that ability, but they still kept all the same abilities that you had from the first one at the beginning. Like, just the minor details like that just make me so happy.
And even the fact that, like, how every game starts with a tutorial to teach you the basics all over again. This one did it smart where it's like, oh, hey, that guy's back and you're going to be teaching him the abilities this time.
Yeah.
And so it's like a nice little way to be like, okay, this is how you jump, but you're telling that guy how to do it, So I like
a great story recap and a great recap for how all the mechanics work is perfect. Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm actually invested in the character and the world that I'm in right now. It's been a bit since I've had a good open world game like this. And playing on controller has been hard because I've gotten so used to keyboard and mouse again. But I've definitely turned on that aim assist to help me out a little bit, trying to get those green canisters on their backs and stuff. So that helps a lot. Early impressions, I don't normally give a grade, but do you have a grade you want to give this, or you want to wait out?
It's way too early. I'm probably like 3% of the way into the game. So
yeah.
I'm holding off.
Like, speed running this thing, it's 30 hours. And then, like, if you want to actually complete everything, it's like 68, 70 hours. Kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at here. Yeah, it's a big game. Kevin's face. Yeah, I'm going to go with that too. I'll wait as well. But it's really good. Now let's talk about the game that everybody's playing and have been playing hardcore. We got Lost Ark. Kyle, we're going to start with you, man. What did you think of Lost Ark so far?
I could go in many ways with this, but in essence, wow. For an isometric top-down perspective, it says a lot when the game makes me forget I'm viewing the game through that perspective. I don't have a lot of experience with these types of games, only really Diablo, which I loved. And what Lost Ark does very well is it's almost like a blend of MMORPG, isometric action, puzzle solving, dungeon crawling. It's just all in one, like this mammoth of a game. But it's free to play, and you can speed that up by using real world currency, or you can grind it out. Me personally, I did pre-order the Founders Pack, the Platinum one, because I wanted to really invest myself in the game. And I'd say my money has been really well spent so far. I've been having a blast playing, and really, I picked the Gun Lancer, by the way, the class I chose. And what's so fun about it is how complex the builds can be. Like, you can choose a variety of skills, and you're limited to only 8 skills, so you have to kind of mix and match them to match your play style. And on top of that, you can use the talent tree system to upgrade those skills in various ways. I'm only about halfway to level 60, like level 33 or so. And I've seen a wide variety of where this game takes you. There's a lot of progression, like a lot of systems that you can explore in depth. But I think what is so unique about it is that blend of MMORPG with the social aspect of it. You can get in raids later on, which I haven't gotten to yet, but it just does everything so well.
And is
there
a looking for a group for that kind of stuff, or is it just kind of like you have to find them through chat?
There's a lot of flexibility, so you can either play solo, which is what I've been doing lately, and there's dungeons you can choose like an easy or a hard difficulty.
Yeah,
hard difficulty's been my jam. I've been having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah,
and you can, use a group finder to play with a group. I haven't done so yet, but just having those options available, I think there's just a lot of catering to all sorts of people and how they play games, which I love.
Well, it seems like the game's made for you to play through the story by yourself, but then after that is when you're supposed to group with people.
Yeah,
is the impression that I'm getting.
I'm looking forward to that when I get to the end game, but for now I'm only just completed the first arc. I just collected that, and that dungeon was incredible, by the way.
What level are you?
33.
33. Okay, out of 50, right? Okay, so to me, one of the things that I had a hard time with when playing this game is it is that combination of like a Diablo and an MMO. And so I was leaning into the MMO side and I couldn't stand the controls for it, personally. Do you find that blend hard to cope with, or you're fine with it?
At first, it was difficult. I don't have a lot of experience playing these types of games, and it did have a bit of a learning curve to it, especially with point to move and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And over time, like I just got used to it, and the gameplay really started to open up around that mid 30s area, because you can dump your skill points into, say, making your gun lancer ability when he strikes forward. You can make that into a 360 spin that pulls enemies in.
That's cool.
And you group them all together, and then use your AoE ability, and like Scott always says, like push that button.
Yeah.
In Discord.
So, okay. That's what it sounds. It sounds like really you just kind of got to push forward until you become comfortable with the game. I think is the big difference from other games that I've played in the past. Because I went in on this game planning it out like an MMO, realizing it is far closer to a Diablo in a lot of ways, especially movement wise, and suffering because I don't have the WASD. And it's so much so that I was like looking into like paid services to switch over the like basically mod it with a WASD. It's $7. I'm still thinking about it. And but even they're saying like, well, the game's not meant for it, so you will notice some kind of latency issues. That kills me if I'm gonna actually be like a hardcore player at all. But yeah, Squeaks, you're into this game as well. How far in are you?
Yeah, so I would only say about like 4 hours in.
Okay.
And then like kind of like what you were saying, if you take it to MMO side or a Diablo side, I took it full onto a Diablo side. So I wasn't really had that mindset of it being an MMO, but there is a tons of more stuff than there is in Diablo when it comes to kind of just like that menu of just like rosters and inventories, but it was like so much, and then like rewards for doing certain things and whatever. So that's the part where I've said it before, where it felt kind of like, is this just a mobile game really? Getting that feel where they just give you like a bunch of free shit for doing nothing.
Yeah.
But the fighting is so satisfying. For the fact that when I do multiple moves at one time, it literally feels like, yeah, bitch, I mastered my abilities. Like, like, did you see how amazing I was taking down like a swarm of 20, monsters or whatever?
Yeah.
So that's what I like more compared to, like, say, I'm gonna obviously compare this to Diablo often. Diablo, where it is tough too because there's so many moves, kind of like you were saying with the whole. There's like what the 6 moves, right? 6, but then you have like your hype move. So for me, it took a little bit to kind of get my fingers used to playing a game like that where it commands so much of keyboard mashing. Just not used to that. So, but I mean, I guess that's just practice overall, right? And then eventually, I mean, clearly I'm getting better now, and that's what's the satisfying part about it with the combat. Um, let's see. I wanted to bring up graphic wise if anybody else is having this problem where it's like a little frame rate drops here and there when you're walking around. I don't know if how you've experienced that or not. I've even turned down my settings. Really, that's crazy. Because I talked to Frank. I think you said you were experiencing that, right?
I had it.
I think Sammy was too. It's driving me crazy because it's like, well, I'm not going to suffer my settings for, I'm clearly well above what's recommended for this game. So, whatever, I'm dealing with it, and that's fine because I'm having a good time with this game so far. There's a little too much to the point where like Diablo's more simple, where you got your pets, your little critters walking around with you. This game, I think there's so much where I never gave a shit about like the pets or anything so far. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, really. It's just kind of like you're throwing a lot at me right now.
That's the MMO side. It's basically encroaching on your Diablo side. You have to really embrace both sides to really get the full, array of what this game is.
That's kind of tough, really, for me.
It is tough. That's exactly. You're right. Yeah. That you're having the problem that I had, but the opposite way. I went in on this thing as an MMO, and I'm just like, this is way too Diablo. And so we keep saying Path of Exiles. There's a bunch of them, but Diablo is the gold standard.
Yeah, I went into it the same way that Squeaks did. I was like looking for a Diablo replacement, kind of. And the first 6 hours for me, 5-6 hours, were hell because I wanted it to be Diablo. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until like my third session of playing the game that I'm like, this is an MMO. I need to play it like an MMO. And that's when I started really getting into the groove of it. I got past the first zone. Once you get past that first zone, it's like watching a new TV show. Once you get past the first season or the first 3 episodes or whatever, that first zone, it does start to feel good. And I highly recommend. I know I watched you play it your first time, Frank, when you were playing on stream.
Only
the first thing you did.
Yeah.
The first thing you did was change all your key bindings. I highly recommend not doing that, at least at first. It took me like 3 or 4 hours to be able to get used to the controls the way they are. And after you get that, you get the hang of it. And then you can kind of like switch them up and stuff. I just recommend kind of playing with it as it is.
I'll give it a shot. Doesn't hurt to give it a shot. Yeah,
it definitely takes investment. Absolutely.
Okay.
Every zone you get into, there is something new to do. Like I just got done with the Battle of Helm's Deep in reverse, basically. The castle siege. You're actually outside sieging the castle. And after that, you get your stronghold. And there's like an hour's worth of tutorialization with getting your stronghold. Every zone seems like there's a new thing that they throw at you, like an MMO is wont to do. So that is taking me some time to get used to. But overall, I like it a lot. For a free-to-play game and for an MMO, I think it's really good. For a game in general, it's about mediocre for me.
Yeah. The way you turn me on is you say Battle of Helm's Deep, anything. And I am there. Okay, it sounds like I'm gonna have to give it another shot. The freemium stuff is hard to swallow, but it's just how the world is nowadays. I play Fortnite, and I know that Fortnite is getting me one way or another. There is a lot of cool skins in that game. So, okay, what do we want to give grades on this? I think Kyle, you've definitely gotten far enough to really know this game enough to give it a grade. What are you guys thinking?
I've gotten to the point where I think I've seen a majority of the game, but there's still things I haven't touched, like endgame or exploring the seas and going to islands and stuff, and really going into the stronghold and seeing what that's all about.
Yeah.
But even with all of that, like I am so excited to see more of this game. I would grade it personally an A.
Oh, damn. Okay.
I would give it more, but there is the free to play model in this game. And
there's not much more to give from an A, my friend.
Beyond that is perfection.
I mean, it's not like A plus S tier, like 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh, you're throwing an S tier on this. Oh, snap, we never had an S tier.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell Daniel, please.
S tier is going to be Elden Ring, for sure.
Oh, you playing Elden Ring?
Oh, hell yeah.
See, I'm not like the only one I know that I have. Well, yeah. I'm like the only guy I know that I have this game pre-ordered, just waiting for it to,
Can't wait to drop. Yep.
Nice. Yep.
It was that or Horizon Forbidden West. And I think I made the right choice so far, but
I agree.
We'll have to compare notes in a month, like who won out on that pre-order battle. Pre-ordering games, isn't that funny? It's like, man, how old school am I? But I pre-ordered on the PS5 itself, not going to a GameStop. But I thought about it. I checked to see if they're going to give away a free poster. Then I was going to go over there like they used to. They weren't. So I was like, okay, I'm out. All right, last thing we want to discuss is Cuphead.
Well, Cuphead and his pal Bugman, they like to roll the dice.
Squeaks, you watched all of Cuphead.
Yes.
Kyle, you're in on a little bit. Give us a rundown, Squeaks. What do you think?
All right, so essentially, when I found out that this was released is because I was trying to find something for my daughter to watch. So on the kids' profile, it said Cuphead. I was like, note to self: when I actually wake up, I need to watch Cuphead.
Yeah.
But I understand why it's on the kids' profile now. So essentially, in the main story, just kind of a quick rundown on the story compared to video game and series. The main story is Cuphead and Mugman go to a casino. They gamble. They're on a hot streak, and then they make a deal with the devil. And the devil basically they lose, and they come out with a deal with the devil to make other characters pay their debts, essentially. So I don't know, whatever you call that. So this one, they took away the gambling aspect of it, and what it was, the Mugman and Cuphead go to a carnival. It's like Carnival, and they play some games. Well, the carnival's kind of run down. It's kind of evil looking. Blah 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 blah. So Cuphead's on a hot streak, kind of like it was with gambling, but playing skee ball. So what you find out is when people are losing at skee ball, their souls are being sucked into the game itself and then being delivered to hell, essentially, where the devil is. So Cuphead messes up. I think Mugman interrupts him, and the devil was there talking to him because, like, who the hell is this kid? Kind of like winning, and loses the game, and then now his soul is sold to the devil. Well, unlike the game where they have to go out, pretty much beat up these characters to, fulfill the contract with the devil. The show is more like each episode's different, really.
Okay.
It's more a super old school feel, which is freaking amazing, and
I
I think
love
that's why
that.
everybody like loved it about the game, right? But even from like the opening credits, you kind of get hints of like here's a Ink Isles, I think is what they call it, and it's kind of like a map of Peter Pan. Essentially, is what it feels like. You do get one off. There's like skeletons in there. It reminds me of the famous skeleton cartoon with Mickey Mouse where they're dancing in like the tomb or something like that. You kind of get
Yeah.
that feel. But each episode has that whole like old cartoons where they have like that white static or that like white kind of like little
Yeah,
dots or
like
whatever in
film
it.
pops. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
has that throughout the show too, and that just
Oh man,
adds
you're
to
selling
how
this to me.
beautiful it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with how the old school art is, there's some new technology in it too, to where they have like it almost looks like some scenes where it's like a still, like an actual land prop, but the characters are moving on it. But that's not. It's not really actually there. It's like a 3D,
Wow.
say like a 3D CGI visual with the cartoons walking around it. And some
Hmm.
scenes have that, and it looks freaking beautiful together. Um, but with like how they kind of kept true to the show, there are characters in the show that they were in the game. So you got like Miss Chalice, you got King Dice, you got the Devil, of course. But they even had like some of those villains that you would be in the game show up for an episode, and they would have kind of like their beef together. But overall, it's fun. My daughter of 2 years was hooked on this cartoon as well. Like she sat down with me. Obviously, she got bored after a while because it's 2 year old, right?
Right.
But I was like, damn, this is even like pulling her into the show, and it's funny at some points. I'll have to like pay attention to more of like if there's more adult humor, but there are little things that made me giggle in it. Um, yeah, it's just a fun like the opening credits, the end credits are all the old school cartoons. Ah, man, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful, and it made me literally just start playing Cuphead again. So
Oh man, I would love to, but
yeah,
I can't fucking beat that game to save my
yeah, I
life.
understand. You're a Horizon guy instead of an Elden Ring guy. I understand.
You know
None
what?
taken.
That is fair. That's like saying which do you play, Minecraft or Cuphead? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you're totally right. That's not far off. But yeah, just as soon as you say like credits, I'm like, okay, so it's like one panel with like a bunch of names on it, and
Exactly.
it goes to the next
Yep.
panel. That's so classic. Oh
Yep.
man,
Yep.
you sold that to
Yeah.
me. That's cool.
It's so good. Oh my gosh.
Kyle, any thoughts on Cuphead so far? You're a few in.
Yeah, I watched 4 episodes last night actually, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It's definitely got that old vibe of like Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry. Like that's what I love
Tom and
about
Jerry,
this
nice.
era of cartoons. Tom and Jerry is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
And it's weird coming from the game because there isn't really so much as a story in that game. It's more like interconnected levels that don't really have any relation to each other. It's just like a mishmash of craziness.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of seeing this as like the narrative of Cuphead. So it's interesting to have voice acted dialogue for Cuphead and Mugman and Elder Kettle. And it's really cool to see that. I'm having a good time with it.
All right, let's get a grade for Cuphead. You're on your second watch now, Squeeze. You
Yeah,
totally qualify for this
Yeah,
grade.
yeah. No, easy A, like all day.
God
I
damn it, guys! We have all A's on
I
everything
know,
today.
seriously. We're just
It's been a
reviewing
good
great
week.
stuff right now. Yeah.
I too would give it an A so far.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
okay.
art. Oh man, just it's just fun. Yeah, like I said, I'm watching it for a second time again, and just to have it on for background noise. And it's just I could definitely see this be like multiple season type ordeal that Netflix will do for sure. Yeah,
it's smart that it's something that both you and your daughter are watching. Because then it's spans both generations.
And I thought I was going to kind of worry about that when I saw it on kids, and I was like, okay, whatever. But they kind of took. It's not like it's a crazy ordeal, the whole gambling thing. They just kind of flip flopped it. But it's kind of nice because it's more. I guess it's more showing off in each type of profile. I guess in Netflix, so it is really like getting in everybody's face about it. Yeah.
All right, there's a lot of stuff to check out, guys. We definitely suggested a lot to you, but I think we should end off with recommendations. Not what we've talked about so far. Recommend something for everybody to go watch. I'll start off with Sunday, so basically the day before this came out, was the season finale of season 2 of Righteous Gemstones. Fantastic show. Squeaks, I, and Daniel are constantly texting each other. Not a group chat, which would be smarter, but we keep texting each other. Quick one-liners. There's so many fun little things. I just love it. My muscle man daddy. I just love that line so much. It's got me laughing. So Righteous Gemstones is on HBO. There's 2 seasons out. The second season somehow has been better than the first season. I didn't think that was possible, but it has been that freaking good. It's both completely silly and being as serious as Breaking Bad at the same time. It's amazing.
Actually, I watched Encanto over the weekend for Valentine's Day with my wife, and great movie. I loved it. I thought it had a really good message at the end of the film, and the songs were not annoying. I loved it. It was a great film.
The songs are good, man. They're catchy. I suggest if you want to, Kyle, me and my sister-in-law Susan recorded a sloop about that. It's a free sloop, so everybody can go listen to it. And she's Colombian, so she actually talks about a lot of the mannerisms and stuff like that they actually used in the film.
Interesting. Okay.
And then I watched some
Colombian?
documentaries.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's all kinds of little manners I wouldn't have known about, and then she points out, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he does that weird thing that like only the Colombians would catch," and it's because they made sure to bring it in. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Squeaks. What about you? What is the recommendation for everybody at home?
Well, shit, man. Because obviously, like, if you haven't yet, watch Peacemaker. Obviously, I just talked about Cuphead, so go ahead and watch Cuphead. I'm not crazy on like the show stuff right now, but essentially, I will say maybe like a game I can recommend. And it's only it's cheaper than normal. So Sifu, check out Sifu on the PS5. I'm sure it's on the PS4 as well. It's a really hard game. It's think of like a Batman and the big fight scenes, right, where the parry, kind of like Shadow Mordor, but they throw it all at you. But it's unforgiving. So if you mess up, you'll die pretty quick. But the goal is like I don't want to like do a quick review. The goal is you're getting revenge. And every time you die, it adds a year to your age, and you can only go up to age 70. So just think if you were on the last level and you're age 69, you can only die once. If you die once, you'll essentially probably never beat the game, so start over. But it's only $40 compared to the normal $60, $70 game. And it's really the combat, the art is beautiful. The art's kind of like Sea of Thieves feel almost. But yeah, it's super fun.
Have you finished it yet?
No, I just I have relatives staying over, so they're kind of like blocking up my living room area.
Mm-hmm.
Bastards.
It's on PC as well, by the way. That's on Epic Game Store.
Oh, nice. And I just saw it advertised for PS5, so I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm like 2 levels in. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That premise of you having limited deaths, that's the Hellblade premise, and it adds a level of tension that I haven't really felt in videos before. Where I'm like, I simply cannot try this again. I have to do this, or else you have to start from the beginning. That kind of tension is. It feels good and frustrating at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can start to level over. So if like you died 5 times, like, that's too much. Okay, I'm getting better. I'll start to level over and start where I, left off as from the previous level age-wise, and then just go from there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to check that out. I think on Epic too, I can't confirm this, but they do have a $10 coupon for the rest of this month, which, is burning up quick. That $10 coupon, you should be able to apply to Sifu and actually get another $10 off of it. So
nice.
Keep that in mind, guys, for $29. All right, Kevin, moving on to you, man. Any recommendations for everybody at home?
You know what? This is going to be a really old one, and this is directed mostly toward Kyle. Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Wow. You picked any of the Star Trek movies, you went with Voyage Home, which I love, but it's a
my
tough
favorite.
One.
You can watch it on its own and get everything that there is. Besides the very beginning, because it's like the third part in the story of what's going on there.
Yeah.
But it's just a silly movie that has no relation to Star Trek outside of the name.
Yeah.
And you get the idea of what Star Trek's all about by watching that movie. I'm probably going to watch it this weekend now after talking about it.
I can't wait for you guys to review it on Trek Freaks.
I can't wait either.
They
Maybe I'll join you for that one. Who knows?
There you go.
Yeah.
No, you won't.
Star Trek posted something funny of like the different characters and stuff like that. It was like a cartoon or whatever. And like Spock was wearing a sweater with a whale on it. And I was like, oh, hey, that's so cool.
Yeah. The children's Christmas book.
That's what it is.
Out.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, and they sold it to me on just that one thing. All right, guys, we have a lot of recommendations for you. Please join us all throughout the week. We have all kinds of shows coming out for you guys. And we'll see you guys next week. All right, bye. Thank you for joining us on the Geek Freaks podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Geek Freaks Pod. We're also on Facebook, Instagram. You can email us. We have our Patreon and a store. All those links are in the description. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.